This is the Holy Gospel according to Mark. 6 days later, Jesus took with him Peter and James and John and led them up a high mountain, apart, by themselves. And Jesus was transfigured before them, and his clothes became dazzling white, such as no one on earth could bleach them. And there appeared to them Elijah with Moses, who were talking with Jesus. And then Peter said to Jesus, "Rabbi, it is good for us to be here. Let us make 3 dwellings, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He did not know what to say, because they were all terrified. And then a cloud overshadowed them, and from the clouds there came a voice. "This is my Son, the Beloved. Listen to him." Suddenly, when they looked around, they saw no one with them anymore, only Jesus. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus ordered them to tell no one about what they had seen until after the Son of Man had risen from the dead. This is the gospel of the Lord. There's something about this story of Jesus with his 3 closest friends, it's just so powerful. We have Jesus and his 3 friends heading up this mountain, and he's changed completely. He's glowing white. Moses and Elijah appear. There's a cloud and a booming voice from heaven. It's almost too much to take in. And yet, I don't think the power of this story comes from any of those features. I don't think it comes from the mountain or from those great figures of the past that appear alongside Jesus. I don't even think the power comes from the cloud and the booming voice. You see, the power in this story comes from Jesus gathering his closest friends and telling them who he really is. This story is about Jesus' relationship with Peter, James, and John. He pulls them aside from the others and takes them to a faraway, a separate, a secluded place and says to them, "I'm not just the Jesus that you know. I'm the Son of God." And that's a scary moment. No one's quite sure what's going to happen next. Between all of the smoke and the clouds and the shining and everything that appears, I imagine Jesus wondering if his closest friends are going to stick around or if they're going to run away. Now, Peter, James, and John, they don't always have the right words when the time comes, especially in this point. They say something to Jesus, and it's clear that's not what they were supposed to say. But Peter, James, and John stay with Jesus. They come walking back down the mountain together, still following Jesus, still his closest friends. Now, maybe that moment doesn't seem especially exceptional to you. Maybe that moment where Jesus' friends just accept what he has to say and follow him and continue on in their mission doesn't seem amazing. But if you take a look at our LGBT colleagues and siblings and friends, you can see very clearly how powerful that moment can be. Jesus' moment is very much like the story of someone coming out for the first time. And if you talk to someone in the LGBT community, they can almost always tell you that moment in their lives when they were able to come out to a trusted friend and how powerful and how life-changing that moment is. That power is what we're seeing today. Jesus is being vulnerable and open and honest with people he cares for deeply. And somehow, those people who hear this news, this somewhat unbelievable, amazing story, they're able to continue following him. They get back to work, they head back down the mountain, and they follow Jesus down a very hard path. There's power in this story. And there's a message for each of us in it too. Each of us as Christians are called to follow in the footsteps of Jesus. And that is never easy. But one of those things that following Jesus means is being true to ourselves. It's being open and honest about the person that God has created in us. It's sharing who we are with those closest to us, and then being accepted as a child of God. There's something so fundamental and so powerful about that moment, about sharing who we are with no reservations and feeling that acceptance come back. I think each of us, no matter who we are, needs that moment at some point in our lives. Because no matter where you are in your life, we still have work to do. If you look out at the world around us, we can all see that we all have lots of work to do. God needs us out in this world. God needs all of us out in this world. If we're going to follow Jesus, if we're going to live up to our calling that God has given us as Christians, as children of God, we need to be able to put our whole selves into that calling. That means being open and honest about who we are with ourselves and those around us. And when we hear that affirmation, when we see those around us see us as we are, as children of God, we have a new power. We have a new energy. We have a new way of being in this world. We have a chance to follow Jesus back down that mountain into the world that lies ahead. None of this is easy. There are times when we're going to misstep. There are times when we're going to get it wrong. There are times when we're going to want to hide all of who we are away from the world and shut everyone out. But God calls us again and again to step out, to be the person that God has made us to be, and to use all of ourselves to do the work of God in the world here and now. God is calling us today. God is calling you today. And God needs all of you, every single part, to do the amazing things that God has planned right here and right now. Amen.